This is KLEKLP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
Good Wednesday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. Chance of showers later today. Clouds will increase, the high near 60. A weather front coming in tonight and tomorrow with clouds and showers. Could be a thunderstorm tomorrow. And the temperatures overnight, 45 to 50. And the temperature about 52 to 58 Thursday. But those temperatures will be falling into the 40s late in the day. And it looks like Thursday night, partly to mostly clear skies, developing around 30, rather breezy. Your life, your music, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. State elections in the US have seen gains for Democrats a year ahead of the presidential poll. Campaigning for next month's general election has officially started in the UK. Washington's top diplomat in East Asia is visiting Seoul in an attempt to mend fraying military ties between South Korea and Japan. And Russia's plans to release the 50 remaining beluga whales in the country's Far East region have been put on hold for bad weather.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM, good morning to you on your Wednesday. It's November 6, 2019. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you, joined by Kobila Jones, host of Community Conversations. And with this being the first Wednesday of the month, we are back once again with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott, and lots of things going on today, so we're not going to waste any time getting into it. So, Chief, how are you doing today?
Hey, great. How are y'all?
All right, doing pretty good. So, yesterday, Chief, you were at the meeting of the Jonesboro City Council. You gave a presentation, kind of an update on the increase in crime in Jonesboro and what Jonesboro Police is doing about it. So, we'll just kind of start there.
Sure. Well, the gist of my conversation with the City Council last night was the amount of gunshot calls or shots fired calls that we've had in the city since the 1st of January. Between January 1st and October 31st of this year, we have had 624 calls for gun crime that came into the dispatch center. This number includes calls for either shots heard as well as shots fired. Now, part of this could also be fireworks. I mean, during January and July, sometimes people call in fireworks complaints as they're hearing what sounds like gunfire, especially if it's after the holiday period and people are still shooting fireworks, which is still illegal in the city. But either way, this number has increased from the past 5 years, and it's concerning that one, we got people randomly out here just discharging weapons in the city. But out of that 624 calls, 84 of them resulted in a police report being written. So either somebody had been shot or a building or vehicle was struck by gunfire. Then out of that 84, we ended up with 24 of those reports of actual victims being shot, with a total of 31 victims being shot since the first of the year. Now, we have had a total of 6 homicides this year, and 5 of those were firearm related. The 6th was the person died by other means than a firearm, and it was domestic violence related. So, of the 24 cases that were filed this year, the positive note is we have made arrests in 13 of them, and we still have 3 that's still under active investigation, and then the others were closed due to the fact that the victim refused to cooperate. And that's a struggle we've been having for years, that people are victimized of a shooting and They don't want to cooperate with the police and give a statement of who shot them. For the most times, they do know who in fact shot them, and they just don't want to give up the information and get involved, and which is concerning. This time last year we had over 20 reports of people shot and had made no arrest because of lack of cooperation. So in a year's time, we have gained more cooperation from people. I guess our pleas to for the community to cooperate and work with the police to get these people off the street has paid off a little bit because we have made more arrests. But it's still concerning that if you fail to cooperate, then that person that did the shooting is still out running about and poses a threat to somebody else. So that is very concerning to us.
And I can imagine. Well, go ahead.
No, I was having a conversation with someone concerning, and I know we'll get into the Sky Camp a little bit later.
Sure.
But, they were asking my opinion. Do I feel that it would help hinder, the crime or the situation that's, especially in that area? And, we're talking about how how people are reluctant to assist the police or to
Sure.
offer up information. So it's like, if we say we want a better community, why are we not doing what we're supposed to do? Why are we not doing more? Why are we holding back vital information?
Right, and that's kind of been our plea all along is, you live in this community and, help us bring these people to justice. I mean, we're going to respond, and, we put a lot of time, money, and effort into working these cases and working these scenes, only to get zero help from the victim that's involved. And then there are some times that the victim is deceased, so we need the other witnesses to step up so we can bring the bad guy to justice. And so that's kind of where we're at. It's it takes everybody working together to get these people brought to justice and get this bad guy off the street. We don't need them running around on our streets. You get rid of the problem, and we hopefully we need to cut this way down. And just the fact that people are out randomly just discharging a firearm, well, that bullet, when it leaves the barrel, it's got to come down somewhere. And it could be blocks away or, and unfortunately it could hit somebody. And so it's concerning. These numbers are concerning that these are up over the trend of years. It's, steadily rising, and it is unacceptable. And so our approach now is if you get caught committing a gun crime, we are prosecuting on the federal level. I have officers credentialed as federal agents now with the ATF, and so we're taking a more aggressive approach to prosecution and removing people from the street.
And one of the other things that came up in the council meeting basically was it was asked, what more do you need? And it kind of basically broke down to money and manpower. But one thing that stood out was the amount that you said it took to equip each officer. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's yes. The answer to your question is, what do we need? Well, it's the same thing I've been saying for months now, even back when the sales tax initiative was going on, and we made several presentations to the community. My needs then have not changed; they're only getting worse. I need boots on the ground, and is there a cost to that? Well, absolutely. The day we bring an officer in and start on the work, it costs us about $12,000 in equipment. The time we outfit them with their vest and weapons and portable radio, that's about a $12,000 price tag. Then you get into a vehicle, a fully outfitted vehicle, about $43,000. So then the officer's salary when they hire in, it costs the city around $43,000. The officer will bring home $34,600 of that. The rest of it goes towards the officer's retirement, health insurance, and things like that. So when you talk about policing and the expense involved, yeah, it is costly to the taxpayers. We're currently authorized 164 sworn officers. I'm currently 6 officers short. In 2020, I have 7 officers that's going to retire. So it's an ongoing struggle for us, recruiting and retention of what we got. People, get in the job and realize that this is not for them, and leave. So this job is, has a lot of demands it places upon the officers every day, and a lot of challenges, and some can deal with it, and then there's those that work with it for a while and then will leave. So we're constantly recruiting and going through this training process. And it's not just Jonesboro, it's across the country. It's the same problem in every law enforcement agency across the country today.
Cute.
I'm just overwhelmed by the information, by the numbers and statistics. And again, I want to just make a plea to the community. We need to become better neighbors of each other. We need to step up and say something and help make this a better community. The police can only do so much. It's up to us. Also, another thing that I wanted to point out, this is not necessarily a police question or issue, but those in the community have these different organizations, outreach organizations. I've noticed the age ranges of the individuals that have been involved in crimes or arrested. They fall within that 20 to 25 age range. And
right.
I've always wondered, what are we as a society doing? Where have we gone wrong? Have we lost our children? I mean, they're still young. They're adults in a sense, but they're young people. And
right. Well, yeah, that's my question exactly. What has happened to the youth in our society? We've got kids that are being brought up that are not being taught the value of life, not being taught to respect others, and much less the law. And then you have kids that are being brought up in drug-infested houses that, there's really no family structure. And the sad thing is, a lot of time these kids will turn to the gang culture just because that becomes their family. And that's the trend we're seeing. And that's really, it's heartbreaking and also concerning that, these kids will subsequently, unfortunately, end up, dealing with the law at some point in time.
And if they get a record, just say a felony at the age of 24.
Sure.
Their life, I don't want to say it's over, but based on the charges and the crime they committed,
it will change. It will change their life and what they can do in life for sure.
Especially now that there is federal charges being thrown out.
Well, again, if you're committing gun crime, that's most definite. And then, if you're a career criminal and say get caught with felon in possession of a firearm, I'm charging you. We're going to charge you federal. I look at it this way: if you've already had multiple convictions and you've not rehabilitated, and you're still out committing and acts of violence against people, it's time that you get off the street and sit down and think about your life. And federal time, it's day for day, and you're not going down for 6 months and coming right back out and do the same thing repeatedly. You've already had that chance. So my message to you is, or anybody listening, if you're involved in illegal activity and you're a habitual felon, if you are involved in gun crime, I'm going to prosecute you on the federal level. We have to do something to make a statement and gain control over our streets.
And we're speaking with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. If you have a question or a comment for Chief Elliott, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080 or leave your questions or your comments on our Facebook Live feed. And we do have a comment from Donna Matt Purier, who says, "Good morning. We all have to do our part to better our community. We have to start reaching out to our children in the community, and if they aren't being taught at home, we need to help teach these youth."
Correct. Good morning, Donna, and thank you for the comment. And she's exactly right that as parents, we need to teach our youth the difference in right and wrong. We need to bring back some morals to our society and teach our young ones some family values. So we can't depend on the police to do it, and we can't depend on our schools to do it. A lot of this begins at home, and sometimes, like I said, it doesn't happen there necessarily, but there may be other avenues that families that can reach out to for guidance and whatever. But it takes a community working together, as we all said, to raise our future and to raise them right. And that's another big thing that I always stress, that policing is not a spectator sport. Community must get involved, work with the police department, just like community must get involved and help raise our kids. If there's any programs, I'm a big proponent of all of these after-school programs, the city youth ministries. These programs have been a huge success for our youth and for Jonesboro, and cutting down our juvenile crime. When these programs are in effect and these kids have some place to go to after school, they're not out doing illegal acts, and they're going to a place that they're getting some kind of structure, generally getting some kind of snack or something to eat. And then, depending on the location, they may be getting, a little spiritual guidance along the way. So there are some faith-based programs out there. But anytime that we can have or get more of these programs, for these after-school programs, I'm all about it. And they are so important to our community and to our kids.
Conversation with those that run those different organizations, because some of them cut off at 18
right.
or 19, and then it's like, well, then what do we do with our kids
sure.
after that? They still need some mentorship.
Well, these kids getting in the junior high and high school years of their life, these are the most challenging times. These kids face a lot of challenges during school, socially. There's a lot of peer pressure to do different things, and some of it leads to trouble. And but you're correct. I wish there were other programs for young adults that they could turn to. But again, as a community, I think when we recognize a problem, if we sit down and start working on ways to fix the problem, it can be achieved.
And anything else? I want to transition to talking about since we're talking about crime,
sure,
the new camera system that was set up. But I didn't really get into something else.
Oh well, no. Actually, I was just going to go into that myself.
Okay.
That was another thing that was talked about at the council meeting, was the Sky Cop cameras.
Right.
The first one was deployed, one in the Cedar Heights area.
Yeah, Melrose and Cedar Heights area. Basically, for the listeners, one, Sky Cop is actually the brand name of the company, the camera company they were using. But basically, it is several cameras mounted on a metal box that are focused on different areas of the area up there. They record 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That box has flashing blue lights on it. So when you drive through the area, you'll see flashing blue lights on top of a pole, and these cameras looking at you. And the goal is to cut down illegal activity in the area. These type of programs throughout the country have been proven a success in doing just that, deterring crime. Now, so we know that this area has had many issues, and you look at our crime stats, this has been a hot spot on our mapping for years. And I think by doing this, we can bring that environment hopefully back to a little bit safer than what it currently is. And the positive effect is, that one's been up about a week, and during that time, how many calls we've had to Cedar Heights? None. You look at the camera and the people, and just talking to some of the residents up there, they appreciate it, and they have commented to us and to media outlets that it's appreciated. So hopefully we'll get the desired results and keeping crime down. And then if something does happen, obviously we hopefully have it on video, which help us to lead to prosecution.
I don't want to be ready closer to break, but before you put the cameras up, did you discuss with other individuals within the police department, supervisors, whether it would push crime in other areas?
Well, when we do crime analysis, which we do weekly and monthly, we do these reports and they're published on our website, and anybody can look at them. We have these areas we call hotspots, and so the cameras we deploy, we're going to place in our hotspot areas, and that's to, again, trying to get that crime down now, and then make a statement to the people committing these crimes that, you know, we're taking an aggressive approach here in Jonesboro, and if you don't like it, then move on. I'll just be frank about it. My goal is to keep the residents of Jonesboro as safe as possible, and again, when it comes to being aggressive on being proactive, then that's where we're going. There's no sense that some of these activities take place, and we're at the point that, you know, we're just down to zero tolerance. And,
all right. And before we go to break, we got another comment from Donna, who says, I'm not sure if you have a number, but how many of the gun violent crimes do you think are being committed in Jonesboro from out-of-town individuals or gangs?
Well, when you say out-of-town individuals, I mean, you have people that are from other areas, that they live here or have been staying here, so do they qualify as a resident? I don't, you know, some of them are staying here. Where did they originally come from? Yeah, sometimes from other places. But with Jonesboro being as large as it is, and I mean, we have the population growth of Jonesboro has grown over 15,000 people in the past 10 years. So, I mean, people move to Jonesboro because of work opportunities, shopping opportunities. You know, there's a lot of great things going on in Jonesboro, and so it is an attraction. And sometimes we attract people that come with criminal activities in mind.
All right, and we're going to leave it there. But don't go anywhere. We have more with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. This is Community Conversations on KLEK on 2.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
When was the last time you found yourself caught in a storm? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. Thunderstorms here in Florida come and go, often very quickly. But what about the storms in our lives, the ones that don't disappear so easily? Anxiety can be one of those storms, and it's more common than we think. In fact, anxiety affects 40 million adults in America, about 18% of our population. Recently, some of my friends shared with me their battles with anxiety. So, what can you do if you experience anxiety? First, talk to a trusted friend or doctor about your struggle. Second, practice relaxation techniques to use when anxious thoughts begin clouding your mind. For more on how to deal with anxiety, visit my blog at markmerrill.com. Remember, your family first.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Family Minute is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a non-profit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Women now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants.
The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com. Stark's Auto Plaza at 2829 Red Wolf Boulevard is a proud KLEK supporter, offering luxury pre-owned vehicles sold wholesale to the public. At Stark's, we never say no. 870-203-9980. Details at starksautoplaza.com.
The Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was established on June 28, 1997 by 13 dynamic women who accepted the challenge of chartering the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter. Today, the chapter continues to impact the Jonesboro community by sponsoring programs such as the Sonia D. Williams Scholarship Breakfast, Community Back to School Bash, Delta Academy, Voter Registration Drive, and Autism Awareness. Our focus correlates with the national theme, Joy in Our Sisterhood, Power in Our Voice, and Service in Our Hearts. Our chapter supports Delta's 5-point programmatic thrust: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. More information about the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is available at www.jonesboroalumnidst.org or via email jonesboroalumni@live.com.
KLEK 102.5 FM wants to be active in the community. If you or your organization is hosting a community service event, we would like to know about it and be a part of it. KLEK will promote your event on air, online, and on social media. KLEK personalities may also attend the event and provide music and or entertainment. Certain restrictions and availability may apply. If you or your organization would like to partner with KLEK to make the Jonesboro community a better place, call 870-277-1080 or email us at klek@klekfm.org. In order for a community announcement or church announcement to be aired on KLEK 102.5 FM, we ask that the announcement be sent at minimum 1 week in advance. Thank you for supporting KLEK 102.5 FM.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLK 102.5 FM with our guest, Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. And before we went to break, we had a question. I'm going to go back to that question. It was from Donna Puryear, who says, I'm not sure if you have a number, but how many of the gun violent crimes do you think are being committed in Jonesboro from out-of-town individuals or gangs? So Chief wanted to pick that question back up.
Sure. The second part of the question, when talking about gangs, the biggest part of these are gang related and drug activity related, so the two go hand in hand. So this is the reason that we created this organized crime activity task force several months ago, is to recognize different groups of organized crime that's in northeast Arkansas, and that includes gang activity, identifying those people, and once we do catch them involved in some kind of criminal activity, there is criminal enhancements on prosecution if you're tied into a gang. So both on the state level and federal level, you can actually face more time in the penitentiary.
Oh, I didn't have a question.
Oh, no. I was just saying, wow, okay, so I've seen the question posed many times, like, I read a lot of comments on social media, and I try not to engage because they can be a little upsetting, but some people have asked, what harsher steps can be taken to help reduce the crime or get people's attention and help them be more reluctant to commit crime.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why I say I am prosecuting more and more cases on the federal level. That is a harsher step. 6 months in the state pen versus 9 to 20 years in the federal pen for the same charge. That's a little bit harsher step. And again, that's the approach we're taking, because enough's enough. And people want to understand that people sometimes get out and catch a felony charge, and understand that. And if they rehabilitate themselves or not get into any more trouble, you're not the target. it's the career criminal. If you're involved in gang activity and illegal drug activity, and you've been arrested multiple times, then you're on the target list. That's the person we want off our streets because you've not learned a lesson. And I'm all about reform for people that have served time when they come out. I know they face a lot of challenges trying to get back involved in the community, and they want to do right, but they meet obstacles, daily, trying to find jobs and things. And I'm all about trying to help get them back and be a productive member of society. It's those people that don't want to reform and don't want to change their way of life that is our target.
One of the things also that is going on with Jonesboro Police Department kind of transitioning is we recently had the graduation of the Reserve Officers course. So let's kind of talk a little bit about that program and how it helps Jonesboro Police Department.
Sure. Jonesboro Police Department has had a reserve unit for many, many years. In fact, I started out as a Jonesboro Police Department Reserve Officer in 1979. Okay, so
for those reserve officers out there, just think you could one day be chief.
That's right. And from that point, served a couple years here as a reserve officer. Then I went to work in Blauville full time in 1981, and worked there 11 years. And came back here, and 28 years later, this is where I met. So 40 years into this line of work, and this is where I met. But the reserve program, it is a volunteer program. We have around 20 people in our reserve unit right now that they don't get paid by the city. They volunteer their time. They lay their life on the line for the citizens of Jonesboro, and don't get anything out of it financially. Now, the self-satisfaction of helping out their community is their reward. Now, we do provide the equipment that they need to do their job, and we do provide all their training at no cost to them. But us, along with several law enforcement agencies in the community, have these kind of programs. The sheriff's office does also, and we recently did a joint reserve officer training with our sheriff's office, and we had several officers graduate the program last night.
And what are their duties and responsibilities?
Well, they hold regular jobs in the community, 5 days a week, just like most folks do. But they will come and volunteer. We ask them to put in 8 hours a month working with the police department. So they will come ride as a secondary officer in the patrol vehicle with officers. And then, say at the fair every year, our reserve unit works together in parking the cars. People getting in and out for the fair traffic, getting vehicles parked. These officers donate their time, that whole week, and getting people parked. So the Christmas parade, the reserve officers step up and come out and work the intersections at the Christmas parade. Anytime we need to supplement what we currently have, we can reach out to our reserve officers for assistance.
Now, if one of those reserve officers decided to come on full time, what additional training would they have to do in order to do that?
Yeah, they're still going to have to go through the whole academy course and all the other training that we regularly do, even though they've already had some of the basics. But they're just puts them a little bit further along. And that's happened quite often. They get involved in a reserve program and then move over to the full-time position, such as I did.
Awesome. All right, and definitely want to give a shout out to everyone, but especially Shankota Cunningham, who's very near and dear to us here. So if she's listening somewhere, shout out to you.
Absolutely. And congratulations.
And to everyone else.
Well, and since we're bringing her up, that's an example of, as we talk about all the time, when getting involved in your community, Chief says it's not a spectator sport. So she, decided instead of being a spectator, I'm going to actually get out there on the field.
Right. She's stepping up the plate and going to be out there and be involved and, make a difference in the community.
And representation matters. So
it does.
Mm-hmm. She's always talking about being the change instead of.
Well, that's something I've said since Chief first came on here in 2015. Now I always said, "Be the change in which you seek."
Yeah.
Exactly.
So everyone out there listening, you can do your small part in this community. Every little bit helps.
Sure.
It creates a ripple effect that spreads out all across the community. So every one of us can do something to help make this community better.
Absolutely. And I thank y'all for what y'all have done here at the radio station in this 5-year period. There has been huge change in the community, and without outreach program that this station does, it has had the ripple effect across the community, and it's all good. And hopefully we keep on growing.
We definitely enjoy doing it. And of course, we just had the recent trunk or treat, and always such a blast seeing all of those kids and the games and the officers and the food and the kids just love it when we have the officers dance.
Well, I think the officers love it too. Some of them are a little bit hesitant, but with a little
Sally kind of guy, and Sally said, "All right,
little coax.
All the rookies are now required to get in on this dance contest." Got a quick question from Donna. Says, "Is the Citizens Police Academy still active?" I can answer that one for you. Absolutely. Actually, they're getting ready to have a class to graduate. They do it every spring and every fall. So I definitely encourage you to be a part of that. I am a graduate of Session 2 of CPA, and it was definitely one of the most fun and informative experiences that I've went through. So definitely.
Absolutely. So
you can go on that website. I'm kind of plugging this for you. So you can go on the website, jonesboropolice.com, and it will have all of the information on how you can join.
Absolutely. We've graduated over 280 residents through this program in the past 5 years, so it's been a huge success for us. And, I just appreciate those that have stayed on as my ambassadors, our alumni, and because after they go through the program, we've had several that just will volunteer their time on different events to come out and help us make that event a success. Like Trunk or Treat, we had some of our CPA show up there. Our back to school events, we always have help from our CPA partners, and so I'm appreciative for those that continue to work for the police department and be an advocate for the police department.
No, you're good.
Okay, so something that we discussed sometime before. I've seen quite a few more reports of missing children, broken children, and we know in some of those cases, some children, like they're grown, they wander off. And however, predators have been on the rise as well. They've been finding new ways to get at children, especially with the rise in technology. So I want to just talk a little bit about what measures can parents take to keep their children safe. What conversations do they need to have? And then when you're out in public, because I've seen people post about they felt somebody was watching them, following them in a van or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. What can we do?
Ooh. Well, let's start from the beginning there. As soon as you hand a child a phone, you need to go over the good and the bad with it, and the fact that there are predators out there. And a lot of times these kids get on these chat rooms and these different websites and get to talking to somebody they think is somebody their own age, and the reality is it's an older person. And then sometimes they end up scheduling a meeting somewhere, and next thing you know, we may have somebody abducted, and that's unfortunate. It happens across the country way too many times, and it has happened here in Jonesboro, unfortunately. So educate your children about the dangers of these websites. We have literature available at the station that people can come by and pick up on how to protect themselves and their kids from these predators out there. This is why I have my high-tech crime unit, ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children unit division within the department, because it is a problem. We are looking for people that are preying upon our children. We are looking at people that are downloading child porn and distributing child porn. So, it's a sad thing to say, but it is a huge problem. And we're talking about kids running off. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're running off and being prostituted out. and then that's basically boils down to human trafficking. So, it's sad to say that we have seen that in our area, and that's just another thing that we have to look at and try to combat, daily, and try to put a stop to it. So, there's many challenges that the police department faces day in and day out in our community, and it stretches our resources pretty thin. But every day with technology growing like it is, we have to keep up with those demands and be proactive and help protect our citizens and our youth.
ICAC department, do you have individuals that scour the dark web and scour these different social media sites and look for back doors and see how criminals, predators are possibly,
Yeah, unfortunately, my resources in that division are very, very small. And do we have capabilities? Absolutely. It's just depending on their workload and what they can and what they have time to do. And we have to put things in priorities. Obviously, if we have somebody missing, then everything's dedicated to go to that. During the other times, we may be doing forensic exams on phones and computers for other criminal cases. So they have a lot to do with very limited resources. Is that a division that I need to add additional resources to? Absolutely. But again, it goes back to the whole thing. I need more boots on the ground for all my divisions in the department. The town has grown over 15,000 people in 10 years. We've grown slightly during that period, but again, we're trying to stay proactive instead of just being reactive all the time. So we want to put a stop to this stuff before it gets going, and we want to protect our youth and all of our citizens as best as we can.
And as Chief has mentioned before, during the tax debate, that as of this moment, he needs 30 officers and 10 detectives.
Yeah, it's our investigative division is they're overloaded. When we talk about these shootings, every time we get a house or a vehicle shot up or somebody shot, I got 3 or 4 detectives having to come out on overtime to work on that during the night. So then they have to work during the night, then come back in and work their day shift. So there's times they're putting in 15, 16 plus hour days, doing what needs to be done.
So it just, highlights the importance of, supporting your community in order to get a handle on things. So let's switch gears once again to something a little bit more lighthearted. Of course, if you are watching on our Facebook Live feed, you may notice a little something different about Chief. Notice a little bit of fuzz on his face.
Fuzz. This is our No Shave November. Is something that goes on across the country every November. And last year, I relaxed our facial hair policy for a month and allowed our officers to grow facial hair for the month of November for a donation to the Northeast Arkansas Food Bank, a $30 donation. So it's $1 a day. But with that being said, our officers, we raised $2,700 and turned over to the food bank, which provided 10,000 meals for our area residents that are in need. So when I was approached with this concept last year about, hey, could we participate in No Shave November? And the more I thought about it, and it's like, yeah, we can, but let's do something charitable with this. And, we know at this time of year, our food bank is always stressed. The holiday seasons are coming up, and the food bank is always stressed to provide food for those families that are in need. And I thought this would be a great cause. So here it is, the second year around, and the officers want to do it again because, one, it's a worthy cause, and two, they enjoy the fact that they can have facial hair for this period of time. Now, I will say last year that I extended it another month, so they had 2 months last year because I think it was a morale booster. The officers enjoyed it, so I gave them the month of December also.
You gonna do it again this year?
I don't know. We'll see what happens in a month.
Well, maybe if you increase it to $50 for December, maybe we'll have some participation then. But that's great that over 10,000 meals are being able to be distributed. Will the Jonesboro Police Department participate in any of the community feedings? You know, there are several churches and groups that hold Thanksgiving dinners. In fact, I know we've had a couple of PSAs sent to us to announce some of the ones that are going to be upcoming. So will JPD participate in any of those?
This is a really hectic time of year for our staff. With everything going on, there are different events that ask officers to come and work off duty yet. And so, you know, it's hard to say. The men and women are running, I mean, they're doing their shifts and then doing all these after-hour events. And, you know, there's more requests than I've got staff. And then you got the ASU events that, you know, are constantly going on that takes some of our staffing.
Go Red Wolves.
Basketball and football, yes, absolutely. So we're kind of spread thin during the holiday seasons, but we always like to participate in any event that we can.
And of course, I'm sure that your officers on their own, you know, they encounter families in need and, you know, help them out when they can.
Well, absolutely. And this is why years ago we started the diaper program. You know, too many times we end up in houses and you find young children with no diapers and are wearing a diaper that's several days old, and, you know, it was nasty. And, you know, officers were going to the stores and out of their own pockets were buying diapers and things to take back to that family. And the same thing, we've encountered families in the middle of the night that didn't have any food. And been many times the shift take up collection, go to the store, buy some food, take back to the family. So with kind of that in mind, we developed the program with the Midwife Association a couple years ago, and we seek diaper donations. People can donate boxes of diapers to the station, so we do have a supply. So when we do have those encounters, that the officer can go to the station, pick up diapers and wipes, and take back to that family to get them through till they can, you know, get supplied up by other means. Our local company, Nice Pack, was gracious enough to provide some of those disposable wipes to go along with that program. So again, that's a community partnership thing that has paid off. Also, recently, the city of Jonesboro was involved in packaging dried food for the food bank. And we have several cases of that food available that these officers can hand out to families that are in need also.
All right, we're going to leave it there. We're going to get ready to go to a break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more. This is Community Conversations on KLEK on 2.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Constantly running out of money before you run out of time is a sign that you need to get your spending under control. If you have a budget but you can't stick to it, you could be buying into lies, also known as marketing messages, which cause you to overspend. Here's a big one. Limited time only. For most products, prices nearly always drop over time. In addition, new versions of the product will also become available. The key to controlling your spending is to shop based on what you actually need, can afford, and fits into your budget. Resist invitations to spend outside your budget based on what you supposedly deserve, what everyone else is buying, or a so-called once-in-a-lifetime deal or sale. Bottom line, the more money you spend, the less money you can save. Anyone who tells you different is lying to you. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
The McDaniel Law Firm, 400 South Main Street in Jonesboro, is a firm believer in justice and equality for the minority community. The McDaniel Law Firm has fought for our rights for over 44 years. The McDaniel Law Firm offers legal help for wrongful death as well as trucking and automobile accidents. Bobby and Brett McDaniel are available for a free consultation at 870-336-4747 or at www.mcdaniellawyers.com.
KLEK 102.5 FM salutes small businesses. Small businesses promote local character and success, keeping money in the local economy, local jobs, entrepreneurship, community well-being, and so much more. Contact us today to learn more on how your small business could be featured on KLEK for as little as $25 per month.
Hi, this is Josh Groban. My favorite thing about music is its ability to inspire and nourish the soul. That's why I'm proud to work with Feeding America, an organization that inspires hope for families in need and helps nourish the 16 million kids in this country struggling with hunger. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and helps get it to kids in need. But they can't do it alone. Find out how you can help at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We are joined by Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. And if you have a question or a comment for Chief Elliott, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080, or you can leave your questions or your comments on our Facebook Live feed.
All right, so we're going to wrap up this discussion with a few fun things, fun facts. Let's talk about, there was a contest recently for an officer, was it in Arkansas only, to a K-9 officer and their partner?
Well, the contest was across the United States,
Okay.
and it got narrowed down to 20-something teams, and one of those teams included Dustin Smith and his dog Rico in the vested interest competition for a brand new police Tahoe. So we're looking at a over $50,000 vehicle outfitted that we were in this contest for, and basically the contest was people go online and vote for their favorite team, and the one that gets the most votes across the country wins the vehicle. So the contest ended on October 31st. We don't know the results yet. Hopefully the next week or so the vested interest will announce the winner. And the company Vested Interest, that is, they provide ballistic vests for our dogs and dogs across the country. And back last December when Gabo was shot during the standoff down at one of the apartment complexes, he was in fact wearing a vest that was provided by Vested Interest. These vests that are provided by this company are provided at no cost to the agency or the officer. This company works strictly on donations to the company, and they take these donated money and buy these vests at $2,500 a vest and provide our K-9 partners with. And fortunately, that night that Gabo was shot, he was wearing the vest, and the vest did stop the bullet that would have killed him if he didn't have the vest on. Now, Gabo did receive other gunshot wounds to him and has since recovered and returned back to full duty. But so this company has been huge support to law enforcement across the country, and we're very appreciative of what they have done for the K-9 programs in every department that's in the country. And I will note that Gabo's story was filmed by Inside Edition a few weeks ago, and that video piece is now available on our Facebook. So if you'd like to see the story about Gabo being shot and everything that he and the handler went through, that video is available for your viewing.
So, check the story out. I'm going to watch it after this show. So, we really hope that Dustin and Rico win the SUV. I voted as many times as I could.
Yeah, it's, we try to encourage everybody to log on. You could vote once a day, and everybody get in there and vote. And the good thing was when you brought up the list of candidates to choose from, Dustin and Rico were the number one spot. So maybe that will help. Again, the fact that we could get a much needed vehicle at no cost to the taxpayers of Jonesboro, that would be huge. So great program, great company. We certainly appreciative of what they have done, for us and the other canines in our area. They've all been outfitted with vests. So every canine in Northeast Arkansas has been outfitted now.
I know recently, recent 2 weeks maybe, you all did a car seat installation.
Right.
And so, as many of you should know, is zero tolerance for your child not having a car seat.
Right.
Is it still 6 years or 60 pounds?
60, yes.
Okay, so what are some other opportunities? Where are some other opportunities?
Right. We get provided with grant money to provide vests, and that grant was just renewed in October.
Okay.
So we have a shipment of car seats being processed, and hopefully we'll take delivery sometime this month or next month.
Okay.
And those, if anybody is in need of a car seat, they can contact the Jonesboro Police Department and ask if we have a car seat available. And if we do have the shipment in, then we'll be certainly glad to install it in your car at no charge to you.
Okay.
But these clinics that we do, we always announce them on our Facebook and on our website. I'm not sure what they have scheduled upcoming, but we do partner with other law enforcement agencies to do these clinics throughout the Northeast Arkansas area. And we'll take our trained technicians. These officers have been trained to properly install these seats and do these clinics and provide the service. Well, also, if you have a car seat in your car and you just want it checked out, you can stop by the police department and we can have one of our techs to take a look at it and make sure that you have made that installation properly.
So this is supposed to be really tight. If you want, you gotta have to get in, get your knee in there.
You do.
And buckle it down. So anyway, one more thing right quick. There's some scam notices going around, so check out the police department's Facebook page.
Absolutely. Anytime we have scams, in which this time of year there are plenty of them taking place. If it sounds too good to be true, when you get that phone call, it probably is. Don't buy into it. Don't send them gift cards, and because they're going to offer you millions for a $300 Amazon card.
Or also, those that say a member of the police or the sheriff's department is calling, and you got to give this gift card to pay a fine. Well,
yeah, doesn't happen.
Use a little bit of common sense on that one.
Use your head. Don't get caught up in it. The IRS is not going to call you and say, if you don't send us a gift card, you're going to jail.
They want their money.
Yeah.
They don't want the gift card.
That is all scams. So if you just hang up on them.
Yeah, hang up, and if you seriously, if you do get one of those calls and you are in doubt, just hang up and then look up a legitimate number and call and say, hey, did you all call and ask about this?
You can also report these scams to the Attorney General's office in Little Rock. You can go on their website and report a scam. So if you have a number that popped up, you're welcome to go and file that complaint with the Attorney General's office in Little Rock. So.
And everyone be on the lookout for deer. Season is up on us. If you live in a rural area, watch out for the deer.
Well, rural or not, we have a lot of deer that end up in Jonesboro city limits, and we've had, we'll average 20, 30 vehicle accident with deer a year in city limits.
Well, Chief, you may have to deal with a raccoon in the public library too.
Yeah. So a lot of times we end up with wild animals, and in our midst, then we have to deal with them. So just use caution. The deer in that mating season, and they are out and about moving, and it can make for a bad accident.
All right, we're gonna have to leave it there, Chief. Thank you as always for joining us, and of course he'll be back next month, first Wednesday of the month. And this is All Gospel Wednesday, so stay tuned. There's great gospel music all day long. You guys have a great and blessed day. This is Community Conversation on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Broadcasting from the First National Bank Tower, this is KLEK LP Jonesboro.